Hey pals, you remember how when I was doing the Fabri-Tac glue in that video, you may have noticed that I forgot to stick down that little piece of black ribbon? Well, I noticed right after I finished filming, and then I glued it on there. So it was glued on for the same amount of time as all the other stuff. Welcome back. It has been about 10 hours maybe since I did all of the gluing. And everything should be dry by now. If it's not, that's a long time for it not to dry. I will start this with a caveat that on the original and I keep our house pretty cold. It's like 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and a lot of glues cure a little better when it's warmer than that. So that could be affecting the results on here. So if you get different results in your house where you keep things a little warmer, don't be surprised. I went through all my footage, made myself a list of all of which glue goes with which fabric, because I will never remember that. And I also, and I'm ridiculously excited about this because I don't use charts very often because I'm not that organized, but I do get a lot of excitement out of making them. Even though they're not, I mean, it's just a chart, it's not that exciting, but I get excited. So, you all get to be excited along with me, whether you like it or not. So here is my scoring plan up in this corner. Each of these things in each category can get a 0, 1, 2, or 3. And then at the bottom, we're going to tally up all their things and see which ones get high scores. So you can get a 0, which is crappy. You can get 1, which is meh. 2, which is okay, and 3, which is good. So those are your 4 options in each of these categories. I have all of the different glues along the top in the order that they popped up on my video, I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I tried to do. And then down here I have all the categories that I'm going to be judging them in. So ease of use, because if it's not easier to use than sewing, why would you use it? Visibility, so if it shows up through your fabrics and stuff, that's not probably going to look how you want it to. So that's a good one. Flexibility. So like if you put it on the doll clothes and it makes doll clothes super stiff and they don't sit the way you want them to, that's going to be disappointing. Seam strength. If it doesn't hold the 2 pieces of fabric together well enough for you to play with it, it's not a good glue for doll clothes. And then down here we have ribbon adhesion, trim adhesion, rhinestone adhesion, and sequin adhesion, because they're all kind of a little bit different, and we're going to see if, maybe it's effective for some of them but not effective for other ones. So this is my grading scheme, and then at the end we'll make our totals and figure out which ones are the best glues for doll clothes making. Let's get into this. Our first one is the clear gel on teal flowers. Oh boy. Okay. We are going to, come on, start with this one in front of me. Now, the clear gel tacky glue, I remember being very easy to use. So that one, I am going to give it a 3 under ease of use. Visibility. All right, so now we look at this to see how visible is this. I've got a little bit of wrinkling on one of my ribbons, but for the most part, it's pretty clear, and it does show a little bit through the fabric. Okay, so this is a little bit hard, because when you do seams, if you are making a garment like a doll clothes, like you would make a human clothes, you sew them inside out, and so then when you flip them open, then your seam, the glue part of the seam, is hidden on the inside. So people aren't really going to see it, but if you were to like glue a swatch of fabric on the outside, you would see the glue through it a little bit. So I'm going to give it a 2 in visibility. Flexibility. Let us find out. I'm trying to go in order of like, start out with the least amount of abuse and then increase. So, how stiff are you? not bad. It's definitely going to hold its shape on a doll clothes level. But it's not like, it doesn't crack. So I'm going to say that this is a 3. That's pretty good flexibility for like a glue. A lot of glues are very brittle. All right. Seam strength. All right, so seam strength is where we test by pulling on this green piece here, because this is the seam we made. So I'm going to start by just pulling gently. That's pretty solid. That's good. That's really good. That's not going anywhere. That is a 3 on seam strength. I would have to yard on that pretty hard to bust it open. I might actually trust that to hold like human clothes together, not just doll clothes, at least temporarily. Okay, ribbon adhesion. Let's try our ribbons. We have 4 pieces of ribbon. The first one is going to be this purple one over here because it's furthest away from me. Let's see how you do. Oh, she's stuck. She's on there. Yeah, that's not coming off. What about you? All right, our green one peeled up. So satiny, maybe not our ideal situation on here. The mesh stuff definitely held. Let me just retest this one. Yeah, the satiny bit on this one also peels up, but the mesh part is that is solid. That is very strongly on there. Okay, this one here, black one, that did not hold. What about you? That one was harder. Okay. All right. In terms of doll clothes, I could peel those off, but I couldn't, like, I don't think regular use, like I had to pull on them, not super hard, but I did pull on them a decent amount. I think regular use, it would hold up pretty well. But it does come off. Do I give it an okay or do I give it a meh? I'm gonna give it a meh for ribbon. Ah, not the black one. I want the green one. The green one's fun. Okay. And also the frame is in black. I'll give you a 1 on ribbon. Trim adhesion. I'm going to lump the yarn in with all the trim. So, let's find out how she holds. It comes off, but again, that requires a decent amount of force. That one came off easier than the yarn did. Okay. What you, Rick Rack? Oh, that wasn't good. That came off very easily. That came off very easily. And that came off very easily. Yeah, it's getting a meh. Rhinestone. Rhinestone is next in line. Our rhinestone is a pink heart. So let's find out. Oh, that came off real easy. So that's crap for a rhinestone. Now, you have to remember the back of a rhinestone is very smooth. If this were less smooth, it might be different, but we're not testing if it's less smooth. We're testing on the rhinestone. And the rhinestone, it gets a crap. That was crap. Sequin adhesion. Okay. We have 2 sequins to test. That came off easy, and that came off easy. Yep, we got crap on sequin adhesion. So, Clear Gel Tacky Glue works really well if the glue can get into the fibers. So this mesh one and this fabric, that is a strong bond. This one apparently not as strong as I thought it was. But I mean, we already graded it meh on ribbons, so. But that was a stronger bond than I had on any of the other ribbons. But this fabric one, that's a strong seam. Maybe don't use it on human clothes unless it's like an emergency. But for doll clothes, absolutely that will be fine. Okay, so our total for this is 3, 5, 8, 11, 12, 13. Okie dokie. And these rhinestones are gonna end up back in my rhinestone container because I'm gonna reuse them. Listen, I'm not gonna throw crap away that I don't have to throw away. So, yeah. The rhinestones, I'm just gonna set them over here because I can't find that little bin right now, but anything I can reuse, I'm going to reuse, except for these short, tiny pieces of trim, which technically I could reuse, but no, they're scrappy enough that I'm going to consider them trash. But the sequins are easily reusable, and they're not, like, mucked up, because, like, as you can see, this thing has, like, glue residue on it, and that's not cute. Okay, this is going in the trash. The next one we have is our glue stick, which is on our white flower fabric. Okay. All right, glue stick. Ease of use. How easy was the glue stick to use? I think the glue stick, I don't know that I would call it good, because it was like weird to get in, like you couldn't get it precise, and it was weird to get on some of these ribbons and trims. So I'm gonna give it a 2, which is it's okay. It's an okay one. Ooh, that's a janky looking too. All right, visibility. It does not show through on any of these things. These all look very nice. So I'm going to give it a 3 on visibility. Flexibility. Let's test this out. That is very flexible. Yeah, that's excellent, excellent flexibility. That if I was going to use a glue on a drapey fabric for a doll clothes side, I would want it to be this amount of flexible. All right, seam strength. Let's take a look. Elmer's glue. Okay, it does hold a little bit. I can feel that it's not a very strong bond, but it is holding, at least for the moment. Okay. That didn't hold very well. I would not trust that to make any kind of seam that you're going to put any kind of pressure on. It will come off when you put the doll clothes on the doll. So I'm going to give it a crap for seam strength. That was not strong enough to be useful. All right. The next one is ribbon adhesion. So let's get started. Okay. Not great. Still a little sticky on the back, actually. Interesting. Did it not cure properly? That came off very easily. Also. And, yeah. That'll come off when you play with it. So you're getting a crap on ribbon adhesion as well. Trim adhesion. Here we go. Okay. About the same. I mean, that was a little bit better than the ribbon, but this is also lighter than the ribbon, and it's got these little stringies coming off it that I think just stuck in more parts of the glue, but it didn't hold well enough for you to play with it. Oh, okay. That one held a little better. Not very well. You could maybe play with it a couple times, but then it would come off. Nope. Again, just not staying. And that did absolutely nothing with that. So, yeah, that's not play withable. So you're also getting a 0 on trim adhesion. Rhinestone. Oh, okay, that rhinestone's kind of on there. It did come off, but it did stick on there a little bit. I'm gonna give it a meh for rhinestone adhesion, surprisingly. Sequin also, and that held on a little better than the rhinestone, which isn't surprising because it's lighter. That one did not. So you're also gonna get a meh for sequin adhesion. Okay, that was our last category. So now we have 10 for Elmer's glue. once again, be harvesting things that I think I can reuse. So, what am I looking at next? We have the Satin Mod Podge with light purple flowers. Ease of use. This was the Mod Podge. It doesn't have its own applicator, or at least my dispenser doesn't. You could transfer it into something with like a spout and then just like put it on there like that. That would go pretty easily, but it is pretty runny. So it might come out of there faster than you want it to. I'm gonna give this one a 2 for ease of use because it wasn't like terrible. But in terms of how good it, like, it could be, I cannot give it a good. It's just okay. Visibility. Most of these look fine. I have some discoloration on the green ribbon, the purple. Honestly, like, this is the only ribbon that doesn't have visible discoloration. The trims look okay, but there's also discoloration on here, on the fabric. This one would be hidden inside, but these ones would not. I'm gonna give it a meh. Because if you're putting ribbons on, you want them to look nice. Okay, flexibility. That's pretty stiff. Yeah, that's stiff, and the thicker you put it on, the stiffer it is. Not good. You're getting a 0 on flexibility. Sorry, friend. Seam strength. Let us take a look. All right. Okay. That's pretty solid. That is a pretty solid bond there. It does come back, but I have to apply a decent amount of force to that. I'm gonna give it a 2 in seam strength. Okay. Ribbon adhesion. Came right off. Came right off. Hard as a rock and came right off. Came right off. That did nothing for the ribbon. You're getting a 0. Trim. Let's see how the trims do. Yeah, that one did slightly better, but not by much. Okay. Oh, this ribbon is, I mean, that yarn is really on there. Okay. This is much more solid. Holy mackerel. This is much more solid with the trims than it is with the ribbons. That one didn't work with a hill of beans, but that's not surprising. And that one also didn't work with a hill of beans. See, now this is hard because 2 of them were on pretty solidly. One of them was on okay, and the other 2 weren't on at all. So how do you grade that? Do I give it an okay for trims, or do I give it a meh? Because for some trims, it is okay. Like this, the ones that are clothier, like cottony clothier, it does actually work okay for. The polyestery plasticky ones, I don't recommend. It's garbage. But like, is it okay or is it a meh? I'm gonna give it a 2. We're gonna give it an okay. Okay, rhinestone adhesion. How are you doing, rhinestone? Okay. Not great. That popped right off. Again, I think that because the backs of these rhinestones are really smooth, I don't think that the glue like holds well onto rhinestones. But that still popped right off, so you're getting a 0. Rhinestones may just not be great with glue. You may need other ways to put them on. Who knows? All right, sequins. Okay, that came up. That one's on there a little better. I'm gonna give it a meh for sequins. The thing with sequins is they have this little hole in the middle, and I think if the glue can get through that hole, they hold on better. I'm gonna give you a meh, and now we add up to 8. Yep. Ooh, not looking good for you, Satin Matte Mod Podge. Satin Matte. Satin Mod Podge. Not Satin Matte. The Matte Mod Podge is different. Okay. Get some interesting results here. I'll be honest, I expected the Mod Podge to perform a little better than that. Okay, the next one in our list is our Fabric Fusion, and the Fabric Fusion is on our Patriotic Houndstooth, which is over here. All right, the Fabric Fusion, in terms of ease of use, I remember it being very easy to use. It had the little spout, it flowed out of it nicely. I didn't have to like squeeze real hard. So I'm gonna give this a 3 in ease of use. Visibility. Right off the bat, there is quite a bit of discoloration in some of my ribbons. This one, not so much, but these other 3, a lot. And I can definitely see it on the fabric. The trims, it looks like, are thick enough for me not to be able to see it on the trims. I'm gonna give it a meh. Flexibility. This should be flexible because it's made to go on fabric. Okay. That's decent flexibility. It's not super good. I'm gonna give it an okay because on a doll clothes level, this would interfere a little bit, but I don't think that it's gonna like really super ruin the lay of your clothes. Seam strength. All right, Fabric Fusion, you better have fused this fabric. That's what you're supposed to be for. Okay. That's strong. That is a strong bond. It is peeling a little bit, but that will hold doll clothes together no problem. That is excellent seam strength. Ribbon adhesion. I'm expecting very good results from this, so we'll see if it disappoints me. That does not bode well for you. Woo, she's coming off. Okay, I mean, I am applying a certain amount of force, but not as much as I should be, because those are also fabric. Just a different type of fabric. Like, these are all polyester. This is cotton. So cotton looks like cotton to cotton bonds well, but cotton to polyester doesn't bond very well at all. Now, I wouldn't say it's crap. It didn't like fall off. I did have to pull on it, so I'm gonna give it a meh. Trim adhesion. Okay, trims. Oh, that is pretty solid in the eye. That came off, but I had to pull on it. This, I don't think would come off while you played with it. Okay. Not as good as the yarn, but not bad. That stays on pretty well. Ooh! This is our first one that I think has done a pretty good job with this. Okay. Little bit mixed results on there, but I think overall, with regular play, I think those will stay on decently. I'm gonna give it a 2 for trim adhesion. Right? Rhinestone. Okay. Oh, that's not that bad. It did pop off pretty quick though. So I think for rhinestone, do I give it a 0 or do I? I'm gonna give it a 1. We're gonna give it a meh. Okay. See, because I did like when I first bumped across it, it didn't come off. That sequin came off easily. This one's not as much. That one's staying on there pretty well. That actually did pretty good with that second sequin. The first sequin didn't stay where the hill beans. So do I give it a meh or do I give it a crap? I think that as you play with this, I think that as soon as the fabric flexes enough, this is gonna pop off. I'm gonna give it a meh. I just don't feel like I can give it a crap. Okay. This is gonna be our highest score so far, I'm pretty sure. Might be a close one with the clear gel tacky glue. Let's see. 13, 14. Ooh. We got a new leader on the board. All right, Fabric Fusion. Good job. You didn't get any zeros. That is impressive. All the other ones have at least a couple zeros. Elmer's Glue Wall is our next one. That is the eye-piercing yellow. Okay, Elmer's Glue Wall. What do you got? The Elmer's Glue Wall is easy to use. Elmer's Glue is meant to be easy to use, and it is. So, it's getting a 3 for ease of use. It is meant to be easy. Okay. Visibility. This one is looking very good visibility-wise. I don't see staining, only a little bit on this purple one, but all of the other stuff looks good. So I'm gonna give it a 3. That's good. Flexibility. I think it's gonna lose some points here. That's pretty stiff. Yeah. That's pretty stiff. I'm gonna give you a meh for flexibility. It's not like rock hard, but that's not gonna do you any favors in terms of like, yeah, it's approaching, but it's not rock hard yet. Okay. Seam strength is the next one here. Pull a little. Oh, it's on the flex part of the fabric. Okay, that is pretty strongly bonded. Yeah, that's gonna hold your doll clothes together really well. Okay. I think that if I pull like really yarded on it, I could take it off, but I can also break seams like that, just like sewn seams. It's not super easy, but like, I've done it before. Yeah, I've done it. Ribbon adhesion. All right, ribbons. What you got? Oh, she's solid. The mesh part came up, but the satiny part of it's not going anywhere. Oh, it came off. That took a decent amount of force. That would stay on when you played with it. Let's try this blue one. That came off very easily. Okay. No. That's the first one stuck on pretty well, but the other ones didn't. You're getting a meh. Only because the first one did really genuinely stick very well. Otherwise, it would have gotten a crap. Trim adhesion. Okay. That was pretty good. I did have to pull on that a little to get it off. Okay. Same for that. That stuck well. Oh. That was well stuck on there. That one came off easily. Ooh. Getting a wild card here. I might not be able to get this up very easily. Okay. This is a really good glue for this type of plastic. I'm going to give you 2 for trim. Rhinestone. How are you doing with the rhinestone? Yeah, that came up pretty easily. You're getting a 0. That's your first 0. How do you feel about that? All right, sequins. Stuck a little bit better, but still came up pretty easily. Same. Sequin adhesion is bad. All right. Let's see what we've got for our total. 3, 6, 13. All right. Man, these sequins and stuff are really killing us. Not a lot of them want to hold those on. And I thought that none of them were going to hold this hideous green thing, this ribbon, or this trim. But that is lodged on there. Also, it turns out most of these things will hold the yarn on at least a little bit. Which is nice to know, especially because you guys have a lot of yarn. You could use them as trims. Okay. You probably even could braid them and use like braided yarn trims. Whoa, okay, our gloss varnish on our burgundy flowers. This is how you can tell I'm getting old when I go like this. All right, burgundy flower. Ooh, this was one of the ones I was like, I don't hardly dare touch that because I think it's gonna come up. Okay. Ease of use. It was runny. It didn't have its own applicator. You could put it in something that had an applicator, or you can apply it with glue. But the runniness of this, I think, is working against it. I wouldn't say it was hard to use, but I wouldn't say it was like, I wouldn't go for something like that if I was looking for something easy to use. I'm gonna give this a meh in ease of use. Visibility. Yeah, this has some pretty intense staining on 3 of my trims on my or 3 of my ribbons on my rickrack. And that rickrack is thick, and on my fabric. Yeah, those are pretty badly stained. But my trims look okay. You know, actually, now that I'm looking at it, this trim is also... No, you're getting a 0 on visibility. Anywhere you've... Like, it seeps through really easily. Flexibility. This might even be pointless. That is not the worst. But not wildly flexible either. And honestly, as soon as I started flexing that, those things were already starting to come off. So I'm actually going to give this a 0 for flexibility, because if it can't flex with losing all of its grip on anything, it's not flexible. Even if it technically bends, like the point of the flexibility is that the stuff will stay on there and like wiggle around. This doesn't do both of those things. It wiggles, but it doesn't, the stuff pops off. Okay, seam strength. I think this is going to be our least strong one so far. Yeah, that was garbage. Ribbon adhesion. All right, ribbons. You're soaked through. You can't tell me I didn't put stuff on you. That wasn't even attached. That was very slightly attached. Not attached. Barely attached. Garbage. Okay. Trim adhesion. Not attached. Not attached. Barely attached. Not attached. Barely attached. Garbage. Rhinestone. Oh! That rhinestone was kind of stuck on there. Look, it even took the silver off the back of the rhinestone. Not bad. I'm gonna give you a 2. Sequin. Oh, that guy's pretty stuck on there. Okay, the other one wasn't. This guy was. I'm gonna have to give you a meh because 1 year's wasn't stuck, but that's not terrible. All right, we have our lowest score yet with a score of 4. I don't even need to double add that. I did, but I don't need to. In a shocking turn of events, the thing that wasn't glue didn't work as glue. In case you were wondering. What do we have next? Acrylic paint on our hideous yellow. Really? I did those both in a row? I guess I did. Acrylic paint on hideous yellow. Let's go. This is our other non-glue. So we have a side-by-side comparison of our non-glues. All right, ease of use. Honestly, this was difficult for me to use. The color spread, and I couldn't control where the color was going. It got all splorched out. But that was partly because I was using a Q-tip. I don't think this was the hardest thing to apply, but I would not say that that was an easy application, so I'm going to give it a meh. Visibility. It looks like crap. Flexibility. Now, acrylic paint is slightly flexible. Oh, that's honestly good. That's a good amount of flexibility. You're getting a 3. Wow, acrylic paint! You got a 3! Seam strength. Let's find out. No. Did not work. Worth a hill of beans. Ribbon adhesion. I mean, it was on there. I could have probably picked that up and held it and it wouldn't have fallen off instantly. But yeah, those aren't stuck by any stretch of the imagination. Garbage. Trim adhesion. Yeah. That one was actually on a little bit. Yarn sticks in it. That even wasn't even a little bit on there. I'm gonna give you a meh because that yarn did kind of stay down. Rhinestone adhesion. No, that was crap. And sequins. No, that came right out. I mean, there's a little bit, but it came right off. Ooh, that one actually stuck on pretty well. I'm gonna give you a meh because it wasn't garbage, but it wasn't good. This actually has a score of 6. Wow. Good on ya. Acrylic paint over here outperforming my expectations. Not by much, but yeah. You probably could stick this in your acrylic paintings and it would stay on for a while. Ooh, we only have 4 more left. What comes next? The quick dry tacky glue on our goth blue fabric. This came from the last one. That's nothing to do with this. So, okay. Quick dry tacky glue. Ease of use. It was easy to use. It's made to be easy to use. In the same way that Elmer's glue is. All right. Visibility. Pretty good. We have a small amount of discoloration here. Again, would be hidden in the seam. Some discoloration on this purple ribbon. But otherwise pretty good. I'm going to give it a 2. Flexibility. Oh, that's hard. That is stiff. Yeah, that's bad flexibility. You're getting a 0. Seam strength. All right, what you got? That's pretty good. I'm going to give this a 2 on seam strength. This will hold for a little bit, a few play sessions, but then I think it'll start coming apart. So, but it wasn't like, it didn't immediately pop open. I'm going to give it a 2. Okay, ribbon adhesion. Okay, help a little bit. How about not bet on that one? No, those wouldn't fall off on their own, but the minute you played with it, they would. I'm going to give it a meh. Because again, it didn't literally just pop off. Trim adhesion. Okay, that's much more strongly bonded. Still came off, but yeah, this is. Oh, okay. I'm gonna give it a 2. That did work pretty well. Rhinestone adhesion. Okay. That was solid. I think that would hold a rhinestone on for a decent amount of time while you played with it. But it did come off. I'm going to give it a 2. Sequin adhesion. How you doing? Okay. That one went up pretty easy. That one went up pretty easy. Yeah, no, that wasn't very good. No, you're getting a 0. Okay, let's see what your score is. 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Not bad. All right. What do we got next? Gorilla Wood Glue on our white star fabric. That's this little buddy. That didn't come from you. That came from something else. I apparently just have a scattering of other things sprayed across my desk. All right. Okay. Gorilla Glue. It's wood glue. Specifically Gorilla Wood Glue, because they make other kinds of glues. All right. Ease of use. That was really hard to get out of that bottle. I could have applied it with something else, but as it is in this thing, that was really hard to do. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not think a child could squeeze this out of here. I could have applied it in a different way. I chose to use the bottle. I'm going to give it a 1 only because you could apply it with the Q-tip. Just because I chose to make my life harder doesn't mean that there's not a way to make it easier. Visibility. Very slight discoloration on a couple of my ribbons. Otherwise, it looks okay. For the most part, underneath here, it's slightly yellowed underneath this, but I wouldn't notice unless someone like me was really looking really carefully to look for that discoloration. But if I didn't know that it was going to be there, I wouldn't have seen it. So that's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's perfect. I'm gonna give it a 2. Just a 2 for visibility because there is some discoloration. Okay, flexibility. That's pretty stiff, but not the worst. Honestly, like, different fibers in here seem to have different amount of stiffness. Do I give it an okay or do I give it I'm gonna give it a meh. It's not the worst, but it's fine, yeah. I wouldn't recommend that level of stiffness for doll clothes. Seam strength. All right, wood glue. What you got? Oh, that's good. That is a strong seam. You're getting a 3. Okay. Ribbon adhesion. That's on there. Also on there. It did come up, but I had to pull pretty hard. That one came up a lot easier, the satiny one. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm giving it a 2. Trim adhesion. What do you got? Oh, that's on there hard. That came off pretty easy. That's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. Yeah, this is getting a 3. Those trims are down, except for that pink one. But the other ones held very well. So, rhinestone adhesion. No. Nope. And sequins. Okay. Okay. That's not moving much. Okay, it did come up. I'm gonna give it a meh. And the reason I'm giving it a meh is because I think that this one's staying on as long as it did was a fluke. Because the other one just went boink. All right. Nice. Nicely done, wood glue. All right, what is our total? It is a 13. Honestly, like, we're getting some very, like, even score. There's a couple that are outliers because they're not glues, but we're getting a pretty even amount of stickage. Fabri-Tac on the purple basket weave. The actual bane of my existence. I still hate this. It's getting a 0 in ease of use because it was absolutely horrifying to use. Visibility. I see no discoloration. I see no staining. Nothing. It's getting a 3 for visibility. It looks great. Flexibility. It should be flexible because it's made to be on fabric. Yeah, the flexibility is good. Okay. Seam strength. You better be friggin' amazing. Okay. Listen, it didn't immediately disintegrate, but no, that's crap. Ribbon adhesion. Possibly that would have worked better if I'd had pressure on it while it dried. But it worked like crap here, and I hate it, so. Okay. It started out coming off really easy, and now it's stuck. So that, whatever was happening with the end of that thing, that's really on there. Okay, that did all right. Kind of half and half. But what do I give it? Do I give it an okay or do I give it a meh? Because 3 of them came off easily. And 1 of them stuck. Like, stuck. I'm gonna give it a 2. Because that is on there. Trim adhesion. Okay, trims. That's shredded as it came off. Okay. That was on there pretty well. Not bad. And that came off just right away. I'm getting such mixed results with this. Some of these things really stick down, and some of them are just like, whoop, and some of them are like, you can pull me a little, and I'll, I'm giving it a 2. Because this is pretty stuck on there, and this was also, these 2 were also decently, like, I had to do a decent amount to get them off. All right, rhinestone. No, came right off. Not the worst, so I'm gonna give it a meh, but yeah. Sequin adhesion. Oh, that's good. That was good. That stayed on pretty well. Holy mackerel. Okay. Use this for sequins. Got a 14, tied for the top. It's made for fabric, and it works apparently well enough on some things to do with fabric for it to get tied with the highest score. The other high score is the Fabric Fusion. So, fabric glue works on fabric, apparently. Okay. Our last one is our matte Mod Podge. So, ease of use. This gets the same score as the other Mod Podge. It was fine. Yep, 2. That was what I wanted to give it, and that's what I'm going to give it. Visibility. We have some discoloration. Overall, not terrible. Yeah, but it is slightly discolored. What do I give it? Do I give it an okay or do I give it a meh? I'm gonna give it an okay. Flexibility. That one's stiff. Why is that one stiff? The other ones were easy to move. Yeah, this is really variable. Some of these flex really well, but some of these are really hard. I'm gonna give it a meh. Okay. Seam strength. You're the next one. What do you got? Pretty good. That is actually pretty good. That is a solid seam. That will keep your doll close together. Ribbon adhesion. Yeah, that came right off. Had to pull a little bit harder, but it came right off. Came right off. came right off. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't really hold ribbon on. There was the one that was kind of stuck down, but it's also pretty discolored. I'm gonna have to give you a 0. Trim adhesion. Let's take a look. Okay, that was pretty bad. Oh, now that yarn is stuck in it. Okay, not the worst. That came off easily. Okay. This works really well on yarn. It did not work well on any of the other things. You're getting a 1. Only because that yarn is seriously on there. Okay, rhinestone. How are you doing with the rhinestone? I actually had to put a decent amount of force into getting that off. I'm gonna give it a 2. Sequins. Also a decent amount of force. It's getting a 2. All right. What do we got? Oh, it's like almost a palindrome. It's a 13. That is a surprisingly good score. Especially because the satin Mod Podge got an 8. Well done, Matte Mod Podge. But yeah, the formula must be different because unless I like got more biased in my scoring, which is probably the truth, as I went along. Yeah, that's okay. You ready to discuss some results here? Do I have another color of marker over here? Of course I don't. Well, we'll just talk about them. Okay. Here is my chart with all of our results. As you can see, again, apart from a couple of outliers, these are all pretty even. Like, all of these, except for a few things, all of these glues work okay. The weirdest thing for me is the disparity between the satin Mod Podge and the matte Mod Podge. How is that so different? They're both Mod Podges. Maybe the finish really does make a difference? I don't know. Or again, I may have just, like, my scoring may have shifted as I went along, because this was only the third one I did. But let us take a gander. We'll start at the top. In terms of things that are easy to use, things that have applicators generally are easy to use, except for this Fabri-Tac. The Fabri-Tac is the spawn of Satan. I mean, it did get a really good score in terms of holding things together. So you can make your own judgment call on whether or not you want to use it. But if you're looking for something that makes making doll clothes easier for you, I wouldn't go that route, because you have this Fabric Fusion over here, which also got a 14, that got a 3 in ease of use. So if you want to use a fabric glue, go with Fabric Fusion. All right. Visibility. Kind of mixed results. The Fabric Fusion, while it does, it's easy to use, it's just, it got a 1 in visibility, so it must have showed up pretty badly on it. Looks like the Elmer's Glue All, which got a score of 13, that's the second highest score, performed well in both of those categories, so maybe that one. The Quick Dry Tacky Glue also did, as did the Glue Stick. Not the easiest to apply, but it didn't show up. I mean, these scores should tell you not to use the Glue Stick, and also just like, don't use the satin Mod Podge. Pick something else. Duraclear Gloss Varnish, that's not a glue, don't use it. Acrylic paint, not a glue, don't use it. Not for making doll clothes if you want them to stay together. I mean, you can use the Glue Stick, but it didn't perform very well overall, so I would not recommend. So, but any of the other ones I think worked decently well. Let's talk about all of our bits and bobs. The ribbons, trims, rhinestones, and sequins. Let's just start with ribbons. The ribbons kind of gave everyone trouble. The only ones that they really didn't was the wood glue and the Fabri-Tac. So like, maybe go hot glue. Hot glue tends to work pretty well with rhinestones. So try that, or you could try like roughing up the back of it maybe, but then you're gonna take the silvery, I don't know. Yeah, I would maybe try hot glue with rhinestones for application. Trims. Okay, a little more evenly spread out. It looks like the wood glue performed the best. Well, you got a chunk in the middle of here. Again, we're not really recommending using the satin Mod Podge, but your Fabric Fusion and your Elmer's glue did well, and your Fabri-Tac and your quick dry tacky glue. So PVA glues, which is like wood glue, Elmer's glue, white glues. White glues do okay with trim. And then fabric glues also apparently do okay with trim. Again, Mod Podge isn't actually a glue, it's a decoupage medium. This one, the matte Mod Podge, however, performs like a glue in a lot of these categories. So, good on the matte Mod Podge. Let's see. Rhinestones are the next one. A lot of them had trouble with the rhinestones. It looks like we have the gloss varnish did okay. Very surprising. Still don't recommend it. It got a score of 4. That was the only thing it did okay in. Quick dry tacky glue. I like quick dry tacky glue. Apparently, because it holds rhinestones on. Did we just talk? Anyway, whatever. And then matte Mod Podge. I feel like I was talking about trims and then I was talking about rhinestones at the same time. But yeah, white glue for trims. And then sequins. Sequins kind of gave everybody trouble except for the Fabri-Tac and a little bit the matte Mod Podge. I think sequins are meant to be sewn on, but who wants to sew sequins on? So, again, maybe go hot glue. You gotta be careful not to like burn your fingers, but like these glues didn't work super well with it. So, yeah, I would maybe go hot glue, or sew them on. They are, I mean, that's why they have the hole in the middle. Technically, you're supposed to sew them on. You can either like sew up through the back of it, through a bead, and then back down through the hole, or you can sew up and then run a string over the side of it. Both of them are tedious, but whatever you want to do, you can do. I'm just saying, they give me a lot of trouble with glue. So if you glue them on there, be prepared for them to pop off. So my recommendations for you in terms of gluing things together for doll clothes: fabric glues work well in general. Fabri-Tac, hard to use. I would not recommend that, just simply because it's difficult to use. And if you're going for glue to make your life easier, don't do something that's hard to use. So Fabric Fusion is our overall winner, but tacky glue performed well. Elmer's glue, I like the bottle glue, the glue wall. I didn't test school glue, that might perform worse. Performed well. Wood glue performed well, and matte Mod Podge. So, yeah, the ones you most likely have at your house, I would guess, would be wood glue and Elmer's glue. So, yeah, these have been my testing, all of my scoring. I hope that's helpful to you. And at some point here, I will actually show you how to use the patterns that I made for you. But yeah, not right now.